What are y'all starting to dislike the more and more older you get? People. I'm getting cranky and increasingly fed up with having to deal or see people who have no consideration for others, usually in public. Narrow sidewalk? Let me just go in the very middle of it, arms outstretched to the sides, so I take the whole width. Quiet bus ride. Let me whip out my mixtape that everyone in the vehicle hears, it's so sick. Shopping going nicely? What if I stand sideways with a trolley under my buggy bags and block the whole aisle, because I found that one jar of pickles particularly fascinating? My religious culture. My religion Islam in itself is fine to a certain level, but the culture I was born and raised in has become increasingly toxic as I have grown up. Maybe it's because now that I'm becoming an actual human being with my own thinking and ideologies I'm starting to feel this way, but there are so many rules I just don't get. Like how girls need to get married off right away, we need to cover our bodies 24/7, we shouldn't be friends with the opposite gender, etc. Thanks for letting me vent. Drinking. As a former binge drinker who turned 30 this year, I can't stand waking up with a hangover and having several days of that fuzzy feeling in your head after a big session. Also can't stand other drunk people in general, the mess they make, litter, vomit, etc., the shouting, the fights and all the grief that goes with it. I'm not completely teetotal, but I never have more than 3 pints at the absolute most when I am out. And even then that's only a handful of times a year nowadays. I am so fucking sick of people bitching and whining about shit that will never affect their lives. I'm so sick of people who are just malicious and shitty because they can be. I'm so sick of the fake offendedness that everybody seems to have these days. I find that offensive. Fuck off. You do not. You just want something to bitch over to fill in the empty space in your hollow, sad existence. Those two gay twinks sharing a banana split at the beach are not your problem. Fashion. Or trends. The older I get and the more I see trends coming back over and over, I realize how dumb it all is. Wear a style that works for you and don't change your whole fucking personality in life because some paid influencer proclaimed thing is now in. I saw influencers hail crop tops as the best thing ever. Making TikToks and they can only be taken from them over their corpse. And then never wear any again. Pointless, narrow-minded judgments. For example, that it's seen as productive to get up early and lazy to sleep in. I'm not walking around calling everyone else lazy when I'm getting a ton done at 1 AM and they're all asleep. As long as neither disturbs other people, why does it matter so much when the work is done? Just because something works for one person doesn't mean it's the best option for everyone. People who are judgmental towards others having a life challenge. Life has a way of humbling us all, and you never know when you're going to go through a challenging period, need help, have a medical crisis, etc. Saying I would never let myself get into that situation is ignorant because shit seriously happens sometimes. We all have periods of vulnerability where we don't make our best decisions, specifically younger people. It's getting easier to see why older people can't relate to and or just dislike younger generations. I mean, FFS, half the words I'm hearing from them make me cringe so hard, or I couldn't even take a crack at what they mean if they'd never been explained to me. I also think older music was better, but that's what every gen thinks about their music time period. I'm guessing people will be one of the most prevalent. It's certainly my one. I cannot fathom the absolute lack of humanity that we show to each other. Child abuse, racism, and other victimization of the vulnerable acts are all unnecessary evils, as indeed the older I get, the less I can tolerate them, and the way the sheer volume dulls our outrage. The internet. Every year it's more tracking. More ads. Less usable search results. Services that are legit worse because they're trying to have you use in a certain way. Most things have pros and cons, and the amount of usefulness versus hassle of the internet has been flat or declining for years now. Tech. 32 now, and I couldn't give a shit about catching up on the new phones, etc. When my current phone dies, I'm getting whatever the best phone under £200 is at that time. Ain't no way I'm paying close to £1,000 on a phone these days just to watch YouTube and ignore messages, calls. Responsibility. Honestly, I'd rather be a kid, young adult, and having to deal with very little. Now I'm responsible for my family, work, income, bills, house, chores, insurances, parenting, etc. And it doesn't get any less. Seems like there's just more being piled on. Being alive? Growing up, the future seemed like an exciting place. Now it just feels scary, threatening, hopeless. It comforts me to know I'll be dead before the shit really starts to hit the fan, environmentally mostly, and I don't have children to worry about. Animal cruelty. I keep getting recommended those shorts where a fucked up cat gets adopted and I have to watch them to make sure the cat's okay, but I well up every time. This is a 40s phenomenon. I don't wanna see that shit, Google, please stop. Generica. The same shit, strip malls and stores everywhere I go. The same bland architecture, be it stores, or luxury condos. Nothing has charm and style anymore. I could be in West Virginia or Florida or New Jersey. Hard to tell. Food chains on every corner. As a kid I loved Panera, Chipotle, Starbucks, etc., but I've grown so tired of traveling the country and finding the same stuff in every city. I live in an area with massive growth and I swear they are chains. Big cities. As a teenager I wanted to live in a big city close to everything and wanted to be rich and famous. I'm still very young, but I'm starting to get more and more comfortable with the idea of slow living in small towns. Driving. I used to love driving. I lived for road trips. Now it's just incessant bullying, tailgating, road raging and rampant, unchecked flouting of laws, no matter where you go. Constant anxiety. The ibuprofen expense line on my budget. Ada, thanks for all the concern about my liver and gut, but it was basically a joke. In reality I only take modest doses for occasional acute pain. The vicious cycle of people treating each other poorly because someone treated them poorly in the past, so they feel the need to treat others poorly. And so on and so on. So exhausting, myself, especially my younger self. Today morning I thought today is going to be a great day, and now it's about 2 p.m. here and I feel like slapping that naive bastard from earlier today. Children that seem to shout like they are dying when in fact they are just playing. Like, why do they screech so much? I don't remember anyone acting like that when I was younger. Getting older. Little me wanted to be an adult so bad. Now I wish I could go back to being a kid again. I miss not having crippling debt and not having any bills to pay. Christmas. Tried to keep loving it but I just can't. Combination of awful family experiences and being fed up with commercialism. Which is a shame considering I'm only 20. Being an adult, the responsibility has become overwhelming the past few years. The older I get the more I find a growing disrespect in people, can be disheartening. Actually going out to do things. I would rather sit at home with some snacks and dick around online. Reddit, YouTube, Twitter, maybe watch a movie or a new series. Rudeness. People treating me badly and acting like I'm crazy for not liking that. Casual racism and misogyny. I don't have time for any of this crap anymore. Cars driving through the neighborhood fast. Like, slow the FK down. People are trying to live in here. Just 10 years ago I was one of those drivers. Greed. Entitlement. Selfishness. I grew up as a hippie. We were supposed to transform society with leave and love. But money fucked up everything. Gatekeeping and elitism, especially in music. I used to do it myself, and when I see people do it now I'm disgusted that I ever sounded like that. Social media, specifically Instagram. I realize how much time I wasted worrying about how people perceive me and my interest and experiences. Unlearn people's opinion on how government works. Once they open their mouths, they just complain, and drags everything down to stupid level. Gossip. I never enjoyed it, but being around grown adults who speculate to overcompensate for whatever insecurity is insanity. Always being tired and getting up in the morning. I really took the amount of sleep I got when I was younger for granted. Being asked for my email address to opt into a rewards program when I just want to make a simple in-person purchase. Phone. Social media. I'm 23. We're the loneliest and most fame-driven generation. Anything for some views, am I right? Trying to be cool and get attention, especially with people whom I am not close to. Now I just wish to be peaceful. Politics. Thought it was interesting in my teenage years. But now I think it's all one big stinky soup. Me too. I've come to relish driving alone in the car with no music on or anything. Just silence. The sexualizing of everything. Or maybe I'm just disliking my growing awareness of it. People literally killing themselves to live the dream. Whose damned dream is it? Everything needing an app. Why can't I just use this perfectly fine browser? Social media. It's just gotten worse and worse since I was in high school. Instagram stories of music. I really don't care what you're listening to. TV. It used to have content, now it's all reality shows and teen drama. People talking loudly on the phone like, dude, you're next to the mic. Children screaming for no reason and loud noises really frustrate me. Careers and degrees. No. They will make me successful and happy. Television programs. I've become so picky I barely watch anything. Rude people. I work in retail and there are so many of them. Loud places. Lol, why do I need club music at a 3 p.m. brunch?